First of all, everybody, like and subscribe for more content. A mid show. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Eyes of Wakanda was okay. It's basically just Tales underground for Wakanda, right? Which is all well and good until you realize how much this makes Wakanda look very fucking bad in history, right? And I think like this sort of style of show, right, could be better utilized maybe for, I don't know, like one-shot stories in the MCU in different universes or whatever the fuck, because that's a little bit more interesting than this, at least. And also, gotta say, granted, Wakanda in the modern times acknowledge that they neglected the world in the past, especially during some pretty fucked up moments in history. But though makes Wakanda have spies and agents in the world throughout history, but not do anything, just makes them look fucking bad, honestly, in my opinion, right? An episode actually has Wakanda's isolational like approach be their downfall in the end, but we'll get to that. The show itself is pretty much about the agents of Wakanda out there in the free world called the War Dogs. I can't speak. Called the War Dogs, right? The first episode has disgraced Dora Milaje take on a task about taking down a warrior who went rogue, who's skilled to the Black Panther himself. He stole weaponry and is off raiding and pillaging and making a name for himself and gathering his own forces. And this guy is called the Lion, right? It sounds interesting, I suppose, right? Because this guy is only second to the fucking Black Panther, right? That's fucking crazy, right? He's supposed to be skilled, doing some badass shit, right? Everything here sounds cool, right? So she goes and finds him. He shows up with this giant fleet of pirates with his enforcers who all come from different cultures, from Viking to samurai, Ronin, Japanese culture, I'm pretty sure, Samoan to a Middle Eastern like assassin, I'm pretty sure. She tries to be stealthy, but she can't not do anything when she sees injustices because they're right there. And she basically just outs herself fighting the Viking shield maiden, then tries to run her ass towards the Lion while getting chased by all the pirates and the enforcers. And man, this is where it starts to really get into that disbelief territory where it just doesn't click for me, right? This is where I start disliking the episode, as Nani, the main character here in this specific episode, is fighting off wave after wave of pirates, then encountering the enforcers who I would have thought would have been tough to beat, trained by the Lion, and hard as nails. But no, no, they are basically cannon fodder too, as she makes two friendly fire another set of enforcers. The convenient miss that the Ronin couldn't see or even try to fight back in his own sort of samurai sort of like way, right? Samurai Ronin way, and gets killed immediately. And even the assassin shot by her trying to be all stealthily but gets caught, right? It just feels underwhelming because none of their strengths mattered at all in this episode. Like come on, it's just sad. Like honestly, like these enforcers were literally nothing. Then there's the fight with the Lion himself, and for a guy who's supposed to be second in combat skills to the Black Panther, I didn't see shit that fucking suggested that. The fight with him was okay at best, and he relied a lot on his vibranium gear. Of course, it could be because he's getting old, and he needs it to help fight better or like more efficiently or whatever the fuck, right? But it's not satisfying to watch, right? Hell, he even revealed has been sending out spies into the free world for many years and for reasons, I guess to keep an eye on the free world or like on the outside world. Like the Lion says that Wakanda sent many that he trained as well to him to go against him, and then that failed. And after seeing like the bigger world out there besides Wakanda, he doesn't want to go ahead and be restrained to Wakanda anymore, right? So he tries to appeal to Noni and get her to join him because she's skilled, she's badass, and of course he's just like, yeah, come join me. But that doesn't work. They fight. not a very good one, in my honest opinion. And at some point, he blows himself up for reasons, because I guess he knows, he realized, causing some of his vibranium gear to be lost to the sea. Then she gets home, is rewarded greatly, even though she technically failed her task. She couldn't bring him in. She couldn't like get the gear as well. But this brings purpose to the war dogs, because they were just out there. I guess for some reason they didn't. I don't really remember them explaining it in detail, that we're actually doing something out there besides monitoring the world, right? But you know, with this newfound purpose, that she becomes a war dog, and the war dogs now are going to secure Wakandan property from the world, that is vibranium, right? So what the fuck does that mean? Like they fully claim any vibranium, no matter what, in the world. In a future episode, a good point is raised about it, but we will get to that as well. Not gonna lie, I thought the name, the Lion, I thought, like, you know, I looked it up and everything in the comics and everything. I thought the series was gonna dive into like the different clans and cults that at some point brought together to make Wakanda. But this episode, we're just gonna focus on like, I thought this episode was gonna focus. It's from the Lion cult, who has been growing in power to set its sights on, like, set its eyes on Wakanda. My ass thought we were gonna get more into the lore and culture and history of Wakanda, and how it was put together with the different cults and clans. But we got this, and I'm not disappointed. I just thought, hey, I'd rather watch this by the end of the first episode. I'm not gonna lie. So episode 2 was interesting as well, because the setting of this whole episode was the Trojan War. The war dog here is friends with Achilles, and they try to take Troy. Obviously, our war dog is trying to get a vibranium artifact in Helen of Troy neck. So after the good old horse tribute trick and infiltrating the city, they get found and ambushed, and our war dog leaves Achilles behind to his fate, because, you know, reasons, right? Because this artifact takes more precedent than, you know, keeping up the ploy, right? So our war dog here allows Helen and Paris to leave, but Achilles shows up and sees our with the necklace and gets upset that our war dog isn't who he said he was, and tries to attack him. This is where the episode lost me. I'm not gonna lie. Not because this episode really does show how Disney-fied and safe the violence is here. It's so fucking lame. But how they applied a character they made up themselves to basically one up another more famous Achilles, having our war dog kill him, which I don't really fucking care. At the end of the day, it's whatever. It's like its own, like, this is Eyes of Wakanda, of course they're gonna have their own interpretation of everything as well. But I'm sitting here, like, as a fan of Greek mythology and Troy and you know, Achilles and many other warriors, I'm pretty sure I'm sitting here like, I don't know, man. I think Achilles could probably win if this was, like, you know, something written. It doesn't fucking matter, right? At the end of the day, it's just some bullshit ass story that, you know, is made for this universe alone, right? I didn't like the direction they took the entire story with Achilles and Troy and the Trojan War, and made it worse, trying to use it as a means to an end for our war dog to not really tie her, to see moments where he met Achilles, you know, fought alongside him, joined him, and then we would see like their battles throughout history, see their brotherhood, see like their distrust turn into brotherhood. That could have been really interesting to deepen the story and add more drama to it, instead of like a lot of this surface level crap that they have here, that we just, because they I will say, decently went ahead and portrayed like their brotherhood and friendship here in this episode, right? But it could have been much more deeper, right? It could have been much more interesting, but of course, due to time constraints and or whatever, right, they couldn't do so. But instead of a story of a war dog who ultimately had to leave his best friend behind and then killing him in the end because the best friend was enraged by the betrayal, which sounds good, but of course, because of time constraints, it didn't hit as hard as it could have. We could have had this aspect of brotherhood as well, but also have like a sort of friendly rivalry between them, and actually show Achilles, like you know, like the dark part of Achilles for glory consumes him, right? With Achilles addicted to glory with the Myrmidons, and Achilles and our war dog are on their way to the palace, fighting at every corner until they see Paris and Helen away. Achilles, in his greed for glory, goes ahead and chases after them and catches them both. He then takes the necklace around Helen's neck as his trophy. Soldiers come and rescue them. Achilles is fighting them, but he accidentally activates the necklace, which heightens his skill even more, nullifies his pain, and increases basically all his fucking stats. Our war dog tries to reason with him to take the necklace and offer up a better. Achilles would want it to be something to him to truly help him become a truly unforgettable legend. I said truly like 3 fucking times. Jesus. This would have caused a fight to ensue. Our war dog would be to Paris, would shoot Achilles in the Achilles, stunning him. Oh my god, right? Enough for the war dog to rip the necklace from his neck and take him down, non-lethally, of course. They would have like a heart-to-heart about their friendship until our war dog leaves and Achilles is left to his fate as more Trojans arrive in Paris and Helen escape. And this could have been much more interesting, as none of these happened himself using vibranium for anything to do crazy ass to try and justify all this crap, right? Episode 3. Oh man, Basha, my boy. Who, as I know, is like the only like black dude in the Marvel universe to clap an Iron Fist. I just gotta, man, I give it up to Basha, man. Like that man right there. Like the episode opens up with him getting out of bed with her. So I'm sitting here like, my boy. But he gets out of bed from her and, you know, he goes out to sneak out to steal a statue back and bring it to Wakanda because the tongue has vibranium in it. But this Iron Fist in this era snuck onto his ship to get the statue back. Pretty much this episode was just her being an intruder and them chasing her around as she beats everyone's fucking ass in Wakanda. She even beat are pretty skilled because they have to be. She takes the statue and they take the vibranium tongue, and that's really it for this episode. The fights were cool here, I guess. It was nice to see a version of, like, well, not a version, a previous incarnation of the Iron Fist. It was pretty cool, but they did really talk about how they are just like Wakanda is just stealing artifacts from different cultures just because it has vibranium in it, right? Which, honest to God, where did all this fucking vibranium come from? Throughout all these years, like were all these items just like from Wakanda just smuggled out somehow, or are there like small like deposits of vibranium in the world, like very small deposits, and different cultures would mix it into like their stuff, and Wakanda just said, yeah, that vibranium is ours now because it's vibranium. You guys don't know what to do with it. Also, how the fuck is vibranium being fashioned in any way if it wasn't anyone from Wakanda who made it in their own special way? Because isn't vibranium volatile and dangerous and difficult to fashion? But yeah, outside cultures back in the day, besides Wakanda, can do that. Yeah, fucking course, right? It's just falling apart the more you think about it, right? Maybe there is an explanation that I'm not aware of, but we'll fucking see, right? The last episode was interesting in its own way, with its own time loop sort of deal with a Black Panther from the future, giving a message to two war dogs that they need to return the item they took to its original place, or else like set off like a chain reaction in time to where the Hive, Marvel's motherfucking version of the Flood, will come to Earth, and Wakanda will not help the Earth to fend them off until they are the last one standing, and then they get hold because they have no more support, because they let all the support fucking die because of their isolational, you know, perspective. Which yeah, I thought this was interesting. The Horde was super sanitized, though. They're not really threatening because they are a mix with technology here instead of just being fucking grotesque, which could have, you know, heightened the danger and, you know, the drama and everything. This episode was fine, but it didn't really add anything to the lore besides show us T'Challa's great-great-granduncle or some shit. And this episode was just a way to connect to Killmonger in that museum because why not? And that's it for Eyes of Wakanda, and It's really it isn't really necessary to watch at all. But if you like Wakanda, like Marvel, whatever, like the whole different time period stories that happens every so often. I can't speak. Happens so often with different properties. You might like this, right? I mean, it's not bad at all. The art style and everything is reminiscent of like more African art. Which is like, at first I didn't really like it, but I got used to it as the series went on. I even kind of liked it with certain character models and just how they are, right? But for me, it's just the show is pretty much just mid, as none of the work I don't really vibe with. I think the two dudes like Memnon in episode 2 and Basha in 3. Memnon, because bro code, he was just trying to be a good friend, but he put his actual duty above his friendship and everything. And Basha, because I find it funny that my man tapped an iron fist. I think that's fucking hilarious. So I think the only time I'd even think of this show is when I'm thinking of a recommendation to someone who loves Black Panther and the MCU and Wakanda and wants to know more about it. Like the show doesn't really elevate anything, but it doesn't detract anything either. Besides just confirming how Wakanda really didn't give a fuck about the outside world in the past. But yeah, that's my of Wakanda. It's kind of like a spoiler review. I'm not gonna lie, I just went through it. It's not a bad show. It could have definitely have been more focused on episode 1 or 2, maybe 2 and 3, or maybe just 2 and 4. Every story here is not necessarily bad. There was just so much they could do with it on its own time, right? With its own sort of like series, potentially sort of like set of episodes, like 2 for each one. I think that could have been even better for the series, right? Because instead of 4 episodes, we could have gotten 8, and it could have been a little bit more interesting. But yeah. Tell me your thoughts on it and let me know. And then let me know in the comments below. The story in the show is just fine. It's about a 5 for me. But tell me your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think? What do you want more of this style of Marvel shows or whatever? What do you think they will make in terms of animation next? And yeah, just let me know in the comments below. Stay safe and healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Subscribe and follow for more. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Almost at 700 from where I'm recording this one. And yeah, I just want to get to 1,000 before the year ends. Thank you so much for everything. See you guys next time.